Don't do that again.
Scott, we were like...
Hey! Welcome back. The ball continues. At this point, you know, you're performing for 4 hours and it becomes 5 hours and yeah, the ball continues, it's wrapping up. At this point, honestly, a lot of the people have already started to go and leave because just sort of the energy is waning, and also 4 hours of a party is enough for most people. But the people of importance stay around, but the party starts to get a little quieter,
You said the people of importance stick around? I was sassing you, never mind.
Yeah, Ilrune seemed to have left. And Gilwin, you give me a Constitution save, actually, Mr. Gilwin.
Okay, I will do that. Road.
Gilwin, you're tired. At this point, Melody's magic helped you push along. Given that little, whether it was the magic, whether you're like, oh, you know, Melody's helping me. You know, I can keep going. At this point, you're performing for like
inspiration
for 5 hours of singing without really a stop. It's painful in many ways, and you're starting to really suffer. And that's a lot of the reason why people were starting to stop listening and starting to leave, is that crowd that gathered around you is starting to dissipate. You're starting to, as you said earlier, Gilwin, and really starting to just drain. And people notice that, and even comment. And actually, you guys hear, like, one of the people in the group that you're talking to is like, oh, looks like this one might pass out like some of the others do.
How common is that?
Depends on the pedigree, but I'd say at least 50% of the time.
Nonsense. He's just a little thirsty. Needs a pep drink. I'm gonna head off to the bar to get a hot drink.
Yeah? You get like a tea or something?
Yeah.
They take a little bit to brew it up for you, but like you get a tea.
I'm gonna empty an appropriate amount of Abel in.
You don't know how much an appropriate amount is.
When you're drunk.
I'll do, I think.
And you go up to the stage with it, I assume?
Oh yeah.
That's like 3 flowers worth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, I guess a flour grinds down to not much, so probably the whole.
you, as you go up on the stage, someone goes to stop you, and then they're like, "No, wait, you're with him. Yeah, he can have a little bit of a break and a moment, just not too long."
I'm gonna hop up on stage with him.
Yeah.
Offer drink. You're doing really well, Gil. Everyone seems to be quite excited. I mean, you know, they're getting a bit tired now, but so are you. All you need is a little drink to keep you going.
You're muted.
No, I'm not.
Oh!
Am I?
You aren't now.
No, not anymore.
I guess I was speaking so quiet my mic didn't even notice.
Yeah.
My throat is very hoarse. I know. I'm like,
You're like, nay! I got at least 3 laughs.
People laughed, so you're allowed it, which is the sad thing. If no one laughs at a joke, it is removed.
Vil, could you do me a favor? Bring Haven up here, and I'll start playing your song again, and I want you to punch him in the face. I need you to distract them for a couple of minutes while I regain some composure.
Right. Yeah, have you already had some tea by any chance? Someone brought you something hot to drink?
Nope.
Bear in mind that Melody is up here, and she sort of looks at Vale almost as if she's like getting ready to punch Vale.
Nope, I am of a stable mind.
Okay. Well, here you go. It's got a bit of zing to it.
Okay. I'll actually chug it.
It's It's good
my
tea.
throat
Yeah,
kills.
exactly. Yeah. You after a little bit after drinking that, there's a bit of energy is starting to come back to you. All that sort of tiredness, and even the hoarseness of your throat. It's not that the hoarseness of your throat goes away. You're just like, I can push through it. I don't even care. You start to feel reinvigorated, full of energy. In fact.
Excellent. I'll pick up the pace.
Drugged best friend. Another thing off the bucket list.
So do you go and get Haven?
You don't have to listen to me.
We're probably already on thin ice, and the Archmaid said she wants to talk to me at some point, and probably starting a fight is not a good idea.
Okay. I just thought it'd be entertaining. Any and everything goes.
You need someone to distract them?
Not distract, just sort of... It doesn't matter, honestly. You're welcome to stay up here and dance, though. I could use some support.
At this point, the Archmage Sparrow is actually at the bottom of the little stairs to the stage and is staring at Vale with a very intense look. But then a smile. When you notice that she's looking at you, she just goes from a... She's probably even more unsettling.
So Melody turns. Should Melody get a lyre and join in with you?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Can I go backstage and find a lyre? I assume there's probably.
Yeah, there's instruments.
Preparing and take his lyre.
I'll just grab a lyre from somewhere, come back on, sit down, probably cross-legged next to Gil.
Yeah. Great. You join him.
Yeah.
Yes, I go off to where the Archmage is.
I'll ask Vale if he took the tea.
Oh yes, down in one go actually.
So he agreed to it then. I wasn't sure if he would go for it.
So you must be Amelia, the girl from the College of Abjuration, is it?
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Pleased to meet you. I have heard some things of a little orphan girl who was raised by the college.
Have you?
It isn't exactly the norm.
Vale
She just nods to it.
down at his feet.
She puts her hand on the Vale's back and guides to walk and talk. Seems like she doesn't super care if Amelia comes with or not, but you totally are free to. This isn't a hushed conversation. It's so I saw you were having quite a good time with our Moon Elf diplomat.
Before, as he's being pulled away, Vale would be like, "It was more implied consent." And then, yes, Ilrune seems to be quite friendly. Well, she's certainly diplomatic at least.
Definitely the most friendly elf I've ever met. Good that you are having such a good time here. I fear I may have gotten off on the wrong foot. You see, organizing an event such like this, and all the ins and outs, and the deals that have to take place, and the people that have to be talked to, it is tiresome work, and I'm afraid I do get the slightest bit stressed.
Yes, I hear that kidnapping people and attacking unarmed hostages is quite the tiring thing. I mean, I say I hear.
I could imagine it would be, but you wouldn't find me doing anything untoward like that. I run a college. I run one part of it. The most exciting part.
Indeed. It is a good ball.
It is. Tell me, have you ever seen a ball like this? Do you come from high society?
Well, in both senses of the word. Yes, we have a great hall up in High Thundral. More often than not, it is empty, however.
Yes. Now, that explains some things. I'm not incredibly knowledgeable on the subject, but some Tomes of magic are, of course, written in Elvish or in those old halls. You understand? She actually small talks with you for a little bit, generally asking how the travels have gone.
Vale answers bluntly.
Yes. And it's one of those things where she doesn't seem to notice that you clearly want this conversation to end, but she keeps her hand on your back and sort of guiding you as you walk through. And actually you realize she did a complete rotation of the ballroom with you. And then when you're back at the entrance to the stage, she just sort of lets go and steps to the side, and like the panther just quickly takes the place, like the space that is left, and goes, "Well, I don't think I will ever be seeing you again, but have a good morning." She like looks, and there's actually a clock, and it is the next day. It would be, what would it be? Like 2 a.m.?
Right. Thank you.
Do send my regards to the rest of your party.
Vale feels very teenagerish, and he just goes, "No," and then walks off.
Great. While you go to walk off slightly, someone goes up to you and is like, "The elven woman, you were having a conversation with her the whole time. Do you know where she went?"
I think she left.
Well, that's very strange. We were meant to have a meeting. She said she'd meet me at 2 a.m. And like looks at the clock on the wall, which should be like on the other side of the stage, or from the stage.
Look, I'm sorry. I've had a little to drink, and Ilrun...
No, that's fine. I was just asking. I thought you clearly were more... Never mind.
Can I assess this fella?
This is a tiefling. They're actually bluish-skinned, no horns, though there's sort of a patch where sort of horns would be. Sort of a different skin tone. Whitish hair. Not entirely out... doesn't look completely out of place here, but just enough. Fairly noble-ish garb. Actually has a display sword, very much like you. Just a sort of typical tiefling noble chap, sort of. And he's like, "Well, it's fine. I'll leave you to it. I was just asking."
Can I insight him?
Yeah.
I know we were talking a lot all evening, but I'm just creeped out that he's like, "Oh, you were talking to her. Where'd she go?"
Yeah.
Incoming one. Mark 2.
It would be funny if you kept getting ones on insight. He's actually worried. It seems to be if someone actually gives you an express time in a fantasy land where not everyone has clocks, you're probably very intending to stick to it. You don't say, "Oh, 2 o'clock," if you aren't a person that goes by actual clocks. The fact that it's now a bit past 2, he seems actually worried by it, not just a little spooked, I guess. And then very genuinely apologetic that he troubled you and is going off.
Well, what was the... Sorry, what were you planning to talk about? You seem to be...
Oh, I am from Velheim. I am a... I don't know the best way to word it. Merchant connector, I suppose. I gather information about Bastilian for Velheim. I mean, you could call me a spy, but I do nothing untowards of the sort. Our queen would not allow that.
Right.
Did some rougher things in my youth, to be entirely honest. I want to be entirely honest with you here. And like he sort of fiddles with these earrings that he has. Those sort of a silverish teardrop type thing. But I was meet with the diplomat at Ilrun. I was quite looking forward to it. I haven't had someone come from the city since the new year.
Well, I know she stepped outside earlier. I actually fancy a breath of air myself. I'll just pop out and see.
If you see her, do point her back to me. I would very much
course.
appreciate that.
Of course.
Thank you, my friend.
I was going to go out for a breath of fresh air.
Sure. It is raining, and the rest of you see that. So if any of you want to go with, you see him leaving. 'Cause I imagine you pay attention to the entrances, to the entrance. It's still sort of snowing a little bit, but it's much more rain now. There are a couple other people in the gardens. You hear like giggling out and about in the gardens, but mostly it's quiet.
Still nothing I would be saying at this point, just kind of like following the lead.
No Ilrune.
The moon out tonight.
Yes, and it's very nearly a full moon, I think. Actually. Going off the top of my head, though. Off the moon cycle for Jarviskjir. It's like a couple of days from a full moon.
Vale's going to spend a few minutes looking at the moon. I wonder whether... Well, I'm sure she's fine. She seemed quite capable. Muttering to himself, that sort of thing.
Cool, and then you just go back in after a bit, find your friends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'd have a cursory glance around. You know, no, like, obvious splashes of blood.
Why don't you give me a perception check?
So this is like, he's just about to go in, and just before...
Just glancing around, because,
Yeah,
why not, you know? You do notice something that's a little weird. You almost see, like, a tiny moon for a second. Then you notice actually on a thorny part of a plant, it is actually a rose bush. A kind of slightly deliberately overgrown rose bush. It would make giant roses, so there's big thorns. Is that sort of material that her dress is made of. But it's not a tore of fabric. It's almost like a torn, like a droplet of liquid. And you know rumors of the liquid clothing of the quicksilver of moon elves. There's almost a little tear of it. And she was a very deliberate person. She would not tear her clothing in deliberately for any reason.
Can Vale attempt to follow it?
There's only the one. If you want to try and sort of be like, okay, where do you think this leads? I will allow that with an investigation roll, actually.
Orange Jesus.
Yes, my child.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you sort of keep going around the gardens, and the gardens are designed with some like almost like a double helix sort of route. You don't see any more quicksilver around. It really could have gone anywhere. You're fairly sure it isn't leaving out of the spire, out of the college, though.
So I am now inside the gates.
Yes, there's basically a courtyard garden, but is in a walled area, and then there's the spire that has sort of the two sections. The foyer bit section also goes into the stairwell, and then the main part that goes into the most of the spire and stuff. You actually know that below this garden is the storerooms that you snuck into.
There will pick up that like splodge scrap of quicksilver, and he will like he's gonna stroll around the gardens looking. I mean, he doesn't know where to look really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a passerby might think, he's just one of the merrymakers, just going for
just having a walk. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he doesn't really know what he's looking for. He's just looking for something else.
Give me a perception check. At this point with disadvantage, because you're not really, you're just sort of amberly looking around. You are looking deliberately, but like over a very slow period. You swear you can hear her voice. It was the way she spoke in Infernal. You could clearly recognize it's Infernal, but it didn't sound right coming from her tongue. You actually do recognize it. sounding like it's coming from below, more or less. And actually, you get to the point where you look around and there's actually a slight drain overflow in some parts of the gardens where little air vents go into the areas below, where you're hearing the noise come from, and she sounds distressed.
Shit. Hey, I was gonna look at the grate and then look back like towards the ballroom.
The grate is of a size where you could, especially because you don't have a bunch of weapons on you, you could squeeze through, but it's one of those things where you can technically go for a space that's half the size of you. Yeah, you could squeeze through. It is not a comfortable process. Not a fast process either. Or quiet.
He's gonna look like back and forth a few times. And then he's gonna grab the grate and dunk,
Give me an athletics roll, mate.
wiggle himself down.
Yeah, athletics for the breaking and entering. Yeah! With a not very strong sun elf, you do lift the grate up and start wiggling down into the storerooms. And you actually already know about these storerooms.
Rip Vale.
Hey, it's okay. This is just the Vale session, where Vale has a little bit of love and then dies. You head down into these storerooms, and roll me. Are you trying? I imagine you're trying to squirm down quietly.
Yeah.
Give me a stealth roll.
At this point, he's already upset at the fact that he doesn't want to go because he's worried that she might be in danger, but he wants to get the others.
That's pretty good. It's actually really good.
I'm glad you have all the luck.
Me too.
my dice box? Here it is.
Me too right now.
Yeah, it's very
Already
convenient
gone.
that Neil steals people's luck and is just very lucky, because he often gets in situations where he needs the luck.
I've actually spent several years eating Ian's luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian's not lucky anymore. Okay, great. Oh, great. Oh, someone rolled a 1 on their perception check. You squirm down into these the storerooms below. You've already been in these. You actually know them. You know their layout fairly well. Not brilliantly, but well enough. You see in dark vision, which is no surprise. There's no light down here at all. And like I said, the storeroom is made up into several small rooms. It wasn't designed to be a storeroom, they're just using it as such. And it seems like in the middlemost one, you can hear this conversation happening in Infernal, back and forth between a male and Ilrun, who you can't tell what it is, but they sound like threats.
Can I creep and peep to get eyes on?
Yeah. You creep over. You see that she is tied up. Actually, she's not tied up. There are sort of manacles that are wrapped around her. Her arms are sort of like locked to her front in like arm manacles that like go over the entire forearms. And they look extravagant, though it's very hard to tell in dark vision because of the detail you see what that extravagance really goes into. She is sort of half sitting, half laying on the ground, and before her is one of the to you immediately assume it's one of the illusionist guards. They're actually not wearing the garb of the College of Illusion at all. They're wearing sort of like assassin leathers, sort of black leather armor that is designed to make someone move quiet and dexterously. And they actually have a rapier, and they're walking back and forth. This assassin, sort of like spitting back in infernal insults and things. And you realize that maybe some of the words you'd heard before, just in passing, swear words. And it's almost like a sort of like, you shut up or I'll do, that sort of thing. And he seems to be waiting, maybe. It's kind of very hard to tell what's going on.
Vale is going to reach down, pull out the parrying dagger, and then he's gonna creep up behind and stab him in the back.
Okay, make me an attack
Up
roll
in the
with-
ribs, straight into the
with
heart.
advantage. See, with sneak attack, you know, usually the whole you do like an assassination in D&D doesn't work, but sneak attack, swashbuckler, bastard, that's definitely a hit.
That's a beautiful one.
Ah,
Oh, okay. I was like,
that's pretty good.
it's not good to start. Is this considered a coup de... No, because he's not helpless or bound or anything.
No, and coup de garde isn't really a super a thing in 5e.
No.
Well, if they're pinned or whatever, right?
No, I don't think it's actually a thing at all.
It is.
The rules for coup de grace are basically for
Yeah,
now
I-
advantages.
I-
Because it was a
It's
just a
40
crit-
thing.
It's just a critical hit, isn't it?
Oh, there's something about that I never remember.
Oh, okay.
But you get up behind this guy, stab him in the back, like you said. What the lower ribs or?
Up, you go up through the ribs into the heart.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you actually stab a good deal through, but the leather of this guy's armor sort of takes some of the force, and the comet blade is sharp, and you know it's sharp. And you pull back. You actually see there's actually a flash of it's not quite runic magic, but just almost magic energy along this armor that sort of like fizzles away from where you stabbed at him. And the guard sort of like stumbles forward, nearly falling on Ilrune, and then like catches itself turning and facing you, and like kind of looking at
When
you.
he turns, they would rake the parrying dagger across his throat with the
Well,
bonus.
at this point, roll initiative.
Okay, fair enough.
You ain't getting away with it that easy, you bastard. But you might be, because his initiative roll is poo-poo butts.
I've clicked. There we go.
Oh, I
Mine
see where it is.
Poo poo butts.
Yeah, okay,
Also,
make an attack,
I'm sorry,
Mr.
Ted.
Vale. This is not going on a battle mat. It won't last long enough.
Yeah, no, he's just murdering everybody.
It's just a murder.
Yeah.
They're gonna
It
murder!
is potentially.
Vale is red for blood.
Yep, exactly. It matches my lapel.
That is a miss, my friend.
That's all right.
It was all deliberate! Ooh, let me do some math real quick. You might have just killed the bastard. No, very close. With his second one, he actually puts his offhand, because he has a rapier, up, and you slice some of his neck and some of his offhand, and the guy yells and then bites his tongue very deliberately. So there's almost like this muffled yelp, and he stares at you with actually some hatred, and actually,
Only some hatred, though.
some hatred.
Not
A
that
little
bad.
bit.
A little bit.
Aaron, why do you take all my descriptions and point out that they don't make sense?
I'm gonna die, but it's just an inconvenience.
Hey, this is a tiefling, you know.
Aaron's so cruel.
She's so mean. Just because I do it to Scott doesn't mean you could do it to me. Hey, Vale, make me a deck save. You're gonna pass it, but just make me one.
I might not.
I mean, you will.
I'll roll another 2.
I mean, you have been rolling not the best, but then you've also been rolling pretty good most of the time. Yeah.
That was nearly an 8.
As you stab, like you cause this tiefling to like blood to sort of spray out, and they're wounding. As the blood sort of hits the air, he mutters sort of a trigger word in Infernal, and the blood spray turns to fire in the air, and the fire spray sort of catches you somewhat, but you manage to sort of duck out of the way. There's a lot of wooden things in here that are sort of thin and standing up that are like actually okay cover from this sort of thing. And you take a whopping 4 fire damage from that, but enough to be like, oh, I was in a fight because I'm now singed. And then he will. Then it's sort of like one of those things where like looking down at his own hand is like a realization of, oh shit. And then this assassin looks up at you and then disengages, sort of like shoves you with his elbow, with the arm actually holding the rapier, and then sprints to the stairwell that leads to the area before the foyer. And actually does get to there, but we have to take another turn climbing the stairwell. You're also faster than him because you're a rogue, so it's your turn. He's clearly booking it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take my bonus action to. Well, would I need my bonus action? How far did he move?
He moved 30 feet, so you can just move. You can just chase him.
So I'll directly come up behind him, and once again, the Comet Blade's going into his back.
Yep. It's just a hit. It seems pretty hard to injure this dude. But that time, like, you finally get the purchase you really wanted, and the blade sinks into his heart, and just all of a sudden he stops. And he actually falls limp kind of against your blade and against your hands, and you're trained enough to know that you sort of lower the body down to stop like a loud noise. Yeah, he is very much dead.
Can we just point out the fact that every sneak attack was 11 points
Yeah,
of damage?
I was thinking that. I imagine that 11 is quite high on the odds of rolls you can get from 3D.
5, 5, 1, and
Right? Yeah, it must be,
3, 5,
because...
3.
Yeah,
because 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5 would average 11, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense, but still,
So,
creepy.
Vale, what do you do?
Creepy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check the assassin's body first, or would-be assassin.
There is a small spellbook that, at a glance, just seems filled with illusion magic. A rapier, and the armor on his body is clearly magical leather of some variety.
Sorry, guys. Gonna strip a corpse here. So I'm gonna hang that spellbook from one of my belt hooks that won't come, so it won't come off. It's illusion magic. He's using a rapier.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tiefling as well.
Yeah.
I'm putting 3 and 3 together here.
It's not subtle.
And then I'm gonna take his leather armor off and bundle it up under a shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna head back to Ilrin.
Ilrin doesn't say anything. Just sort of looks at the body and then looks up at you.
Well, what was that?
I believe I was to be assassinated.
Yes. Why?
I can't rightly give you a reason. I believe he was just a middleman. I don't think many assassins are told why they are to kill, other than coin.
I mean, do you think I should roll a perception to put the 2 and 2, 3 and 3 together?
No.
Insight.
You can put the 3. That's almost kind of obvious.
I suspect he might be from the College of Illusion, considering he has a spellbook, a rapier, and obviously you are here in the College of Illusion.
Not the best subtlety, is it?
Well, perhaps the illusion people aren't quite the illusion masters, they say. Anyway, that's not the point. It's not the time for jokes.
Yes, could you get me out of this thing? And actually, I would say there would be a key to these manacles on this dude's body.
Not until you tell me why he was asking you questions. He clearly could have just killed you, but
He was trying to get me to be quiet.
But why would he not just slit your throat?
I did ask him the same thing. He responded in words that should not be on a lady's tongue.
I suspect he was waiting for someone, and because of that I am loath to leave you here or wait until you give me a better answer. So for now, yes, we will remove the manacles, but he's not sheathed the Comet Blade. You're coming back to the ball with me for now.
That is fine.
Chink.
Yeah, she sort of rubs the arms where it got sore, because she's actually been down here for a bit of time. And sort of looks at the arm manacles on the ground, and then walks up to the stairwell and looks at the body again, and then back at you, and then sort of nods to herself.
I'm gonna presumably I wore one of my cloaks.
Presumably, yeah.
Being a cold city.
Yeah.
I know I've got Yeti fur, but
Yeah, no, that's totally cloaks
I'm gonna-
are
I'm gonna
fashion.
bundle up that folded leather armor in my cloak and do the old. And then once we're up in the foyer, I'll sheath my sword.
Cool.
Obviously,
go
I would
up.
have done it before.
Yeah, you come up to the foyer, and no one seems any the wiser. The party is continuing, although again, slowing down as to be expected.
Come with me. Let's go and ask Amelia about this. She'll probably have a good idea of what's going on.
She just nods and follows behind you.
I would go and explain the situation to Amelia. Amelia, this is Ilru. We met earlier. She's a moon elf diplomat. No, this is not going where you think it is. I just she left the party for some air. She was due for a meeting, and a fellow raised that concern with me, so I thought I'd go out and just have a breath of fresh air. And I found her in a storeroom with a would-be assassin. I think he was trying to get her to talk or wait for someone. He hadn't killed her. He had her in manacles. He wielded a rapier, and he had... I'll proffer the spellbook at this point. He had this on him, and also a set of magical armor. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? Because of the way the Comet Blade reacted to it.
Yeah, you are certain it's magical in some way. You just don't know the type of magic, and that's one of those things where like you especially at fifth level adventurers are like, this is magical, this isn't. You know, at this point, the sense of like, okay, there is a magic on this is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I will take the spellbook and I will flip through it.
It's very clearly illusion magic. From what you know, it seems to be the basics of what they are. Everyone is expected to learn here. Maybe a little bit more combat focused than the norm. I'll give you the list of spells later on if you keep it.
Maybe not something I would expect from like elite assassin, just like an everyday student.
It doesn't go to amazing power. The strongest spell here is Phantasmal Killer or whatever that is, which is a strong spell.
Yeah.
But you can tell, actually, just you're a wizard at 5th level. That has been added very recently and is not perfectly scribed. That is a very new spell that's been added, and this person doesn't completely know how to use it. Because the more you cast a spell, you slightly tweak it to make it work more efficiently and stuff like that.
Well, this doesn't appear to be somebody the Archmage would send. They're not that good, to be perfectly blunt.
Well, they were good enough. Ilrun was down there manacled.
What questions did they ask you?
Well, they didn't ask much in the way of questions. I was being prepared to be killed, well, he assumes when someone else was there.
That seems likely.
Often people, even if they do not want to do the deed, they want to watch someone else do it. And then she actually looks at Vale for a second. And then back. I'm sorry I can't give you more clear answers. It does seem that I am merely a puppet in this play.
Well, it is your problem, not ours. I'm sorry we can't help you further.
She nods. Quite deeply.
Amelia doesn't say anything more.
I mean,
She's obviously not happy to be having this conversation.
Vale took this time like someone went by with some snacks and he was like, "Ooh, sausage rolls."
Really stuffed his face. Murder really gets your appetite.
Yeah. Oh. Aaron knows all about that.
Scott. It makes me worry a little bit about Gil. If perhaps the mages of the illusion school are willing to kill someone for
All of the colleges are willing to kill people.
Right. And how many of them are willing to give away a key to a room full of potentially very valuable information or treasures?
Not many. I've been telling you that since the ball started. I don't think they have any intention of giving it to him.
And he like looks a bit taken aback and he goes, "What do we do?"
Oh, I don't know. I've just been enjoying the party.
But what if? I mean,
We have to wait and see if they go back on their deal first and foremost.
I suppose that's true. Perhaps we should tell Haven and Melody so they're ready in case anything untoward occurs.
Bear in mind that Melody's been up playing with Gil,
Mhm.
so she's not an enemy.
For the moment, not addressing Amelia. Versus, perhaps you'd care to have your meeting with the fellow? Ilbury, Ollie.
Oh, I thought you said not addressing her, talking directly to Amelia. She looks and she finds the individual and is like, well, yes, I will continue as if all things conspired naturally. I have magics that can communicate with people at distance. The shackles limited those abilities, but this time if I see trouble, I will call before they knock me out.
Right. Dale doesn't seem convinced.
She smiles, and she sort of drifts away over to that tiefling.
I mean, at this point, I'd just relay the information to Haven, Melody, and if Gil's on a break, Gil as well.
He's not. But while you're actually talking around, it sounds like this is the last little bit of the ball. The ball is ending soon.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Oh, thank God.
So I Vale would inform both Haven and Melody of what we may have to deal with and what has occurred.
Cool. So the party does slowly come to an end. It's one of those things where there's still people around, but Gilwin is given his leave to stop playing.
So-
I do have a
so-
question.
Okay, go ahead.
How
first.
does Gil look?
How does Gil look?
Because we did drug him. And then left him.
I forgot.
So.
Melody was looking after him.
Glistening with sweat, hair stuck to the face and forehead, hunched over, just plinking and plonking. Not really singing anymore.
Just music.
Mm-hmm.
Sound.
Trying her best to cover for him.
Yeah,
Not succeeding very well.
you are given your leave to stop. It is the morning. Actually, there's like dawn, like light from the morning now. You get that sort of wave of tiredness of, oh shit, I stay up all night. Aside from Gilwin, who's like, I'm still good. I can play for another 4 hours.
I'm feeling quite guilty now.
And you can. It's like one of those things where the Archmage Sparrow goes up to Gilwin and is like, you did very well done. I know that you were not interested before, but if you do want to apply to the College of Illusions, I have some sway that could see you in a faster program than most.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Can we get that key? No, the key? Because I
Do you
played with
want
the
it
ball.
now?
Well, as soon as possible, please.
I
Yes,
was
I'd like the key
assuming
very
that
much.
you would be more interested in it in the morning.
Whenever's possible, yeah, that's great. I'd like to go now, but if you don't mind me going now, then I'll go now. But otherwise, I'll go tomorrow.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Super persuasive, by the way. Nailed it.
Pardon?
Hey, who knows, right?
What was that?
I wasn't talking to you.
Yes, I fear your little heart might not be able to take the suspense a whole lot longer. Come with me, Gilwin, and she sort of leads you out the back, actually through the back of the stage.
Follow that. We can see that, right?
She's on the stage, yeah.
Well,
She
Melody was with him. Melody is absolutely going with.
Yeah, I'm gonna motion to the others and go, like a jog.
But you want to keep? Oh, whatever. I don't care about her.
Amelia's so dark.
she's just pointing out that it's not what he said, and that doesn't actually care. She just wants to sass him.
I love that Amelia's just like, oh, whatever.
When the rest of you sort of join up, she actually stops and waits for a lot of you to join up. I was like, well, it looks like you're all coming to my office then. And then walks up the stairs to the Archmage's quarter of the spire, and then slowly making her way through this beautiful area to a office area that has statues, even has waterfalls in this place. There's actually birds that live here in this room. It's a little weird.
Slink up next to Gil.
Yeah.
Gil,
Yeah?
how are you feeling?
I'm tired, but I want to keep going. It's really weird.
I'll hand him some water.
Do you ever do something that you regret once you're drunk?
Are you asking me that? All the time.
Well, I did that too. You see, I saw you were looking quite tired, and I'd had a few drinks.
Yeah.
So I slipped you a little drug.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, well, I'm glad I got that off my chest now.
I'm
I
just
was
like
feeling really guilty.
glazed eyes, smiling.
Feel great.
Not really
Remember
eye
this
contact.
conversation tomorrow because you said it was okay and no takesies backsies.
Oh, yeah, Aaron.
So when you're sort of done with this conversation, the Archmage Sparrow goes around to this desk that is of wood. There's not actually a whole lot of wooden things in Bastilian aside from trees sometimes. And seems to cast a tiny little bit of a spell. But again, it's that same sort of thing where she kind of looks like she's casting a spell and not really. Oh, also, by the way, the panther came with you. And the panther sort of like curls up in one corner of the room.
I make an Arcana roll for that spell? Or no, it wasn't really a spell.
You would just know it's some sort of equivalent, like arcane key to an arcane lock.
An M9
and from one of the sections of the desk opens, you're on the other side. She picks up the key and she places it in her palm and she hands it out towards the party.
Okay.
Melody
Awesome.
like pushes Gil's back forward to take it.
I'm gonna just stop Gil, and then I'm gonna touch it first.
Yeah, it's a
That's
little
good idea,
cold.
actually.
Good.
Just
Being
reach
paranoid.
out and take it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
when I touched it.
Yeah,
I had-
exactly. And she sort of chuckles to herself, like, "Whatever you find in that room is yours. Congratulations."
I'll slap Vale's hand, greedy little boy, and run upstairs.
Have you gone to the room yet?
Yep. So it occurs to me now that whatever is in there might not be very friendly. Me and Haven
That's why I'm asking the woman.
may.
Oh,
have-
she just sort of shakes her head and is like,
Oh,
"That
drastic.
room has been locked for quite some time, and the locks on the doors are beyond us. And hiring some of yours to solve one door is not worth our time."
That's all.
And she sort of just assumes that you guys are gonna leave. I mean, Gil ran away, so I imagine you
Yeah.
filter out.
Melody would have
Yeah,
followed
of
Gil,
course. So as we're actually like leaving, I'm gonna, because Vale told us about what happened, but we weren't making a scene while we were within the party or whatever. Be like, this assassin, you did it all by yourself?
He's nodding, but he just ate something.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't see him at the moment.
There was some grapes in the room, and he just helped himself.
I'm have to. So he's Haven asks, is this something that we should be concerned about? Should we be looking for more of these? This one wasn't for Gil, and again, I'm trying to like make sure I'm sure Gil's like distracted with the drugs and like kind of like running ahead.
Distracted with the drugs.
Yeah, and like running ahead. Two things. Be like, do you think that another one might come for Gil, or do you think that he's safe?
I don't think that we are safe here, but I'm not sure whether one would be sent after Gil. I just think it's worth being on high alert.
Yeah, and in general, this place doesn't like us, but nothing specific for him.
I think it's an unrelated issue.
Okay. Because obviously we need to, it's just been a long night, and I just know that my ability to guard after a day of without rest is going to be slightly weaker than a day with rest, and we need to make sure that he stays safe. This is exciting, but it's also a bit foolish to go now.
You're welcome to try and persuade him otherwise.
It won't work. He seems different right now. He's mad with drive to open this door. I have no idea the drugs happened.
Yeah.
I come running back. I come running back. I can't find the door.
It's okay, Gil.
Lead you.
Yeah, let's go this way. And I was like,
So you lead him downstairs to the dorms. You know exactly where the door is.
I wonder why.
Funny that.
And actually, all the doors are closed. Though now that you notice, when you go up to this room, that door, and these are stone doors and stone doorways, sort of square, very simple, only the slightest. No doorknob, just the keyhole. You actually notice that the door is like half an inch pushed like open, but like pushed like as in because you guys pushed it. It's not open. It's just sort of like it's half an inch pushed. It's still shut. If that makes sense.
Really? It's not like sealed? That's actually a genuine surprise to me.
It was sealed, and then you knocked it really hard.
Oh, no. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Not a complaint. Just awesome. Good. It's actually a little less scary. So.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
And you can all walk up there. Although it's a little tight, there are a lot of you in that tiny little corridor. Surrounded by sleeping students.
Well,
and you know what? Why don't we deal with this after a break?
I was going to say something, but he spoke.
No, you know what? You don't get to say. You don't.
I want to speak on his speak.
Say nothing.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna take a break, and you're gonna like it. We're taking a break. We'll be back.
Is this supposed to be like a Randy Savage or something?
I'll savage you randomly.